maximum amount of production. And injects, yeah, if you can't do them, getting extra hatches is always good. But if you can go for injects,
easier.
Yeah, it's definitely easier to get hatches, but having hatches and injects at the same time is going to make you one fantastic player. So definitely try and work on your inject timings. Hotkey your queens and tab through them, or yeah, definitely just do that. And it looks like Rast left this game at this point, which I thought was actually a little bit interesting because I felt like he could have come back with this sheer amount of Zerglings and Banelings if he'd gotten a good...
Yeah, he had a lot of money too, so maybe he was just discouraged that he couldn't keep his money down. You never know.
You never know. But also very good games. But I'd like to take, I think that is our last replay that we're going to be going over tonight. But I would love to ask, are there any questions from the viewership?
And if there are, we'll answer the questions, and then we're going to wrap up by basically telling you what we learned today and what you should walk on in the ladder.
And we'd love to
now till next Wednesday.
Exactly, and we'll challenge you in those, actually. Yeah. So any questions from the viewership at this point about anything about the game, but particularly worker production or macro on a total scale?
Yeah, and we didn't talk very much about aggression, but we'll talk a lot about that next week as we perfect production, and we'll go into aggression. So the Steel has a interesting question. On average, how many army production facilities per base? I'm assuming that isn't for Zog.
Yep.
The Steel, do you know what race he plays? What race do you play?
Yeah, that would be a good question. Yeah, the Steel. What race do you play? Because that's actually going to really change the answer. Because of the different costs between units. Zerg units, for instance, are cheaper. Okay, so you play Terran. It really depends on what you're going for. If you're going for a macro-style game, I'd recommend 3 production facilities for your first base, and then you could add on 2 or 3 depending on what tech tree you go with. If you're going like Starport, typically you're only going to be able to afford 2. Factories you can push 2, but if you're putting barracks down, you can put down 3. It really depends on what you're going for.
Okay. Also, another tip for Terran. I really think if you want to go for just a really simple Buyer army, like Marines and Marauders, which is a very easy build, it doesn't take much skill, especially the Bronze League, I would suggest it, just by having the sheer amount of numbers. I think off of one base you can have 4 barracks. And I believe that's, usually you should only be able to have 3, but I'm just assuming that sometimes if you're battling and trying to micro or moving your units around the map, your macro is going to slip a little bit. So having that 4th barracks at your level will probably help out a lot, so you can like get extra production, because you're probably going to have a little bit of extra minerals.
Yep.
But I would say every extra base you have, either add on 2 tech buildings, or add on, I would say instead of 4 barracks,
3.
I'd add on 3.
Yep, 3.
Because eventually you're going to start mining out your main and your natural, and you don't want to have like 50 barracks because you have like 5 bases or something like that. You probably want to like take it down just a little bit per base. So a really great number to have is 3 bases and have 9 barracks and 2 starports with reactors.
Absolutely. And also, Ixie, you have a fantastic question. When you are maxed as Zerg and you have a turtling Terran on 2 to 3 base, how do you deal with this? My recommendations, if you have a Terran who's turtling, this is the way they're going to... Typically, there's one thing that all turtling players have in common, regardless of race. They're going either for some sort of really scary tech ball, so like maybe he's going like Mass Banshee or something crazy. They're going to be going for some form of really scary tech play, typically, and they're just going to unleash this really scary army. Now, the key to beating a turtle is you need to figure out what kind of tech he's going with. So if you go into his base and let's say you find out he's going battle cruiser, just hypothetically, okay? You find he's going battle cruiser. What you're going to want to do, if he's forced to stand 2 to 3 bases, he's eventually going to starve. If you prevent him from getting bases, and if you, as a max Zerg, you should have quite a few Zerglings possibly on the field. The Zergling, Baneling, Muta is very popular. You are a platinum level player. So using Zerglings to do run-bys, be able to keep his worker count down and keep him on those 2 to 3 bases will slow him down economically, and just keep expanding and getting more and more hatcheries and more income. Because even if his army comes out and devastates your army, Zerg, every time, 100% of games will be able to remax much faster than a Terran, especially a turtling Terran. on 2 to 3
Yeah,
bases.
if he's going mech.
Exactly. So if he's going mech or if he's going some form of tech build, something like that, definitely get up on bases, know what he's doing, try and get out some units to counter it, whether whatever it might be, and try and just harass, get down his worker count, and also get rid of your low tier units and sacrifice them. Because if you're maxed as Zerg, you can replace them very quickly with extra larvae to make better units. So like let's say you have 80 Zerglings, you could turn that into, let's say, 10 Broodlords and then some, okay, and more Zerglings on top of that. And that's going to be a terrifying army pretty much regardless of what he's got, as long as it's on the ground. So
when you're fighting a Tartling Terran, you really don't want to attack into it.
Nope.
That's probably the worst idea, because if you attack into it and he has the good positioning,
he'll win.
You really, you really are going to get counterattacked and lose. You really want to get map control, get vision, see everything he has, get those high-tech units like Ultralisks or Broodlords. I would suggest Broodlords if you're going against mech. Broodlord Corruptors is really good with handling it. Get the Corruptors to take out the Vikings. Broodlords destroy all kinds of mech.
Yep, just make sure that you're getting lots of bases up there, and sacrifice lower tier units to get higher tier ones. Don't get rid of them entirely, because you do need some fodder, as I've found as Protoss in particular, or as Zerg. Zerglings or Zealots are always something fantastic to have on the field regardless of race, or Marines in the case of Terran. Tier 1 units, as we call them, are always good to have it on the field of battle. So don't get rid of them all.
Just basically wait till he has to attack.
Yes.
And then meet him in the open field when he's not sieged up or something like that. Or when he's not in a very favorable situation. Just wait for a decent opportunity, attack, kill some of his army, completely remax, and go at him again. Because by that point you should have a lot of money, you should have a lot of lava.
Yeah.
So you should be able to remax like 2 to 3 times before you run out of money. And no Tartling Terran should be able to deal with that.
Exactly. Also, would just like to really emphasize what he said about picking a position where he's weak. When he's moving out, as Zerg, you're able to usually get a lot of information with just like 1 or 2 Zerglings running by to see where his army's at. Find a place where he's really vulnerable across the map, and that's dependent upon the map and what units you have versus what units he has. So make sure you can find a place where he's going to be really vulnerable. Like let's say you can have Zerglings attacking from the back and the front at the same time, and like Broodlords coming in from another side. Like he's just going to be in a lot of trouble, and if you're able to exploit the map, strategically you're going to be in a superior position. That should, if anything, it's going to allow you to buy more time to get a remaxed army. So definitely, good question though. Fantastic question.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Yeah, if there aren't any more questions, I wanted to go ahead. I'll give you some things to work on, you bronze, silver level players. For bronze players, definitely today, don't stop making war cost until you have, let's put a number, let's say 24 war costs on one base.
Yep.
If you don't have 24, then you blame that on your loss. And even if it might not be, it probably is.
Even if it might not appear that way, I guarantee having 24 workers is a much better place to be than having 14 workers. So definitely going for workers. If anything, when you expand, you can just transfer 8 workers down, and you've got a half saturated base already. So, yeah, that's a fantastic challenge. I think it'd be good to challenge them in every game not to attack until you have 2 bases.
Just defend, take the map.
Defend, take the map, take control of the Selnaga. That's actually something also. Selnaga are going to be able to give you some warning signs. Typically the center of the map is controlled by these Selnaga towers. Take control of those, and don't press out within a full attack until you have 2 bases, and just use the Selnaga to know when his army is coming.
And then crush it.
Yeah, and just defend it. Just defend, defend. If you have 2 bases, you can push out an attack, or go for a 3rd base. Or actually, if you want to go for the epic challenge, I want you to go out and attack, and behind that build a 3rd base. If you really want to be like Gosu, and send those replays into us. Like, if you do that, you'll be my hero. Like seriously, go and do it on ladder.
If you guys are trying this and you lose a couple of games, here's my caution to all of you. What we're going to be teaching you throughout the year, sometimes it's going to like probably tomorrow or the next days you ladder, you're instantly going to see some improvement. But when you're on platinum or gold, and we're teaching you kind of some very complex concepts, and you are not having immediate success, do not worry about it. Because we're building you to be better players and better gamers. We're not building you to win games. We'll build, if I wanted to, you could probably just learn 1 or 2 builds that were really cheesy and lame and win that way and get promoted that way.
Yeah, I played against a man who went to Grandmasters learning how to 6-pool. And he literally 6-pooled himself to Grandmasters.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. We are trying to make you a well-rounded player who can deal with all situations, have a wide variety of builds and a wide variety of strategies, and overall a very good sense of the meta strategy and metagame behind StarCraft 2.
It's so much more fun that way.
Yes, it's
being able to like actually think about the strategy instead of just like, oh, I guess my rush failed, I guess I lose.
Yeah, so, exactly. And what we're trying to teach you is that this game, despite the fact that we can educate you to become masters, one of the biggest things, I took this game when I first got into it, I took it incredibly seriously. And not that it can't be taken seriously. It's a very cool game, and professionally is highly intense, and if you want to get to that level, we're going to do our darndest to get you there, but at the same point in time, if you're not having fun, you're not playing this game right. You're not playing this game right if you're not having fun. I want to challenge you, every single game you play, win or lose, to have a fun time while you're doing it.
Try new things all the time. Try new strategies. Try, like...
I'll literally go out and I'll just be like, okay, today I'm going to go 1 gate, 2 Stargate, and I'm just going to see what happens. And I might lose the game, but I can laugh the game off. And, he might walk into my base, and I'll just literally have probes to defend. And I'll just be like, good game, you beat me.
It's like the Thomas Edison theory. I've tried 1,000 ways that didn't work, but I found one way that does. And that's just so incredibly fulfilling. When you just walk really hard, and you try so many different things, and finally you're like, I worked really hard, and I figured this out, and boom, I'm a better player because of it. So that's what we're going to be teaching you throughout the year. So yeah, also don't micro. Don't micro in your battles.
Don't micro in your battles.
Work on your production.
Yes, we're completely on production. But with that, if there are no more questions, I want to thank you guys for coming out tonight. I do think this concludes the show for today. I have had a fantastic time. I don't know about you guys, but I have had a lovely time. Please come back. Bring your friends if you'd like to. We always love having more people to be able to help educate them and bring them the entertainment known as StarCraft. But anything else that you want to say, Veritas, before we head out?
Yeah, to answer the steal, the show next week, we are going to have 3 shows next week. We usually have a casting show where we just kind of play games with the viewers, or Septil and I cast a tournament or something like that on Thursday nights.
And we might have a King of the Hill where the viewership actually gets to play, so show up. Probably not tomorrow night.
Because I unfortunately have a schooling sporting event tomorrow night, so I'm not going to be able to make it, but most Thursday nights we will be. But in the future, next Monday, we are going to be having the build clinic. And on the lines of production, Septil and I have agreed that the next build clinic is going to be safe expansion timings and safe expansion builds and strategies for all races. So next week we're going to come in, we're going to have a fast expand for Zerg, for Protoss, and for Terran that are all extremely safe and extremely good. And next Wednesday we're going to be going over aggression, production, and probably something else on Bronze to Masters. Depends on how far we get in the schedule and how much we can fit into that time slot. Because our shows will probably be an hour to hour, 30 minutes every single time.
Absolutely.
So we will be having a show pretty much every single week the entire year. Bronze to Masters on Wednesdays, the build click on Mondays.
And and frankly, when I have less schoolwork and stuff, I'm happy to. I'll be randomly also streaming on here, whether it's my random games, so you can watch actual play by us.
Septil and I will be streaming some 2v2s or 1v1s together. Depends on how much work we have. Probably on the weekends.
I have schooling as well, so I have college work and stuff. So I have all that to do. But if you'd like to just feel free to randomly show up on there. Follow us on Twitter at Septil or True StarCraft, TRU StarCraft. And we'll let you know when we're streaming on there. I promise, if I'm streaming, I will let you know on there if you have a Twitter. You can also follow me on Facebook, Septil the Caster. We'll probably make a new group for Bronze to Masters soon, which I'll let you know about if you'd like to know when that stuff is. But definitely keep showing up. And thank you guys so much for showing up.
Thank you guys. It was a great show tonight.
Yes, absolutely. All right, thank you guys, and we will see you guys this next Monday.